hope traders and investors alike were green yesterday. Still think it was an awesome day in the market. I love these trends. Direction really doesn't matter to me as long as we get a nice trend. I like to, chart and look for the bottom. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to trading, I wake up every morning, come in, play the action, and put the work in. So we have BABA. I want to go over the Chinese sector. It's the weekend, so it's time to just do a recap on it anyway. But the EVs also reported numbers, and we'll talk about them as we get to the charts. So you got BABA here. We're watching this cup. We pushed up, tested the exact level we would expect to come up and test, come back down to the coil here where it's forming a handle. It's like a cup, and then putting in a ascending triangle over here, not textbook ascending triangle, but putting in the handle. Come up, tested it. The 200 is laying right down on top of it. So that's the target right now. We need to take that 200 out, push back up. Hopefully we can take the 200 out and continue higher. I do not own any of these stocks, nor do I trade any of these stocks. I just want to make that clear. They're just not, they just don't fit my trading style. That's all. Weekly, BABA's weekly chart. See, the Bollinger Band is still not opening up for this. We talked about that last week, not seeing any kind of curl on it. And that's not the best sign. I do like to see the Bollinger Bands trying to open up. It takes a little more to open these weeklies up than what it does the dailies. But hopefully, if we're going to try to push, this is going to start to curve up. The 50 here is your big target at 130.59. Of course, when we open up, that's going to move down. But the 200 on the daily, if we take that out, watch the 50 on the weekly. You can see the 15-minute chart here. We pushed, pulled back. It traded a lot like the rest of the market. We've talked about in a couple of videos. Big push at the open, and then we got this massive pullback, very nice pullback. So it give you a trend. I missed the opening trend because I try to wait. I don't trade the very open of the market. Try to wait and let them show me what they want to do. Let the market actually show me what they want to do. But you can see we pulled back right here. And that would have been some entries there. Come up, you can see testing the 200 when it took the 200 out right there would have been a nice chance for an entry. Also, puts coming down, could have got a trade on the way up and then catching that breakout at the end of the day. So I would start holding it all day long. I would take 3 different trades out of that. BIDU, this is looking strong. So you can see your line here. You can see 153, 152. There was those candles. You can see 155. So we've already been above that area. Come back coiling into our trend line, to our moving averages. Over the 200 here, we should have a decent push up this time. Hopefully put in a higher high and just totally clear that level. They're still adding, last I seen, the Chinese are still adding liquidity into their market, so that's going to help. Where we're pulling liquidity out, they're putting liquidity in, just like our COVID market just ran. It's probably that's the type of environment they're in. I don't know if their stocks are going to run. This is a different period of time with, things are going on in the world right now that are, it's different than what we were dealing with COVID. Major financial crisis is coming up. But you can see right here, you got your 50 swooping down. You can see your 200 in there. So the target right now for the weekly on BIDU is we got to get above this 200. It's possible we can open up right above that Tuesday morning. These things like the gap. If we can get right up above that level, that would be awesome. FUTU, FUTU, you can see this thing's respecting the 9. Pushed up above the 200, come back, tested a 9. We broke out of that flag that we had, pushed right up into the Bollinger Band. You can expect a pullback. When you get into your Bollinger Bands like that, you can expect a pullback. The 20 would be the meme that where, textbook, we would pull back to the 20, but I like it better holding the 9. It's FUTU's 15-minute chart. It's pretty much same setup. Ripped it open, snatched back, chopped around, pushed up, 3 trades, at least 2 trade opportunities in there. A lot of charts had several different opportunities. We made several different trades on SPY and Tesla Friday. You can see JD here. We're coiling up into this resistance level, which we're going to look at the 200. You can see this trend line, but we're going to look at it like the 200. This is the daily chart. If JD can take that 200 out, it's liable to push up and make a decent push. It's a good chance today we're going to come back and retest that. I wouldn't even be interested in trading this until it got above that 200. That way it has room to move. If you're trading options, you can make money in there though. JD's weekly, the 50 here is resistant. So you can see we have some pretty big areas. We have the 200 on the daily. Then we have the 50 on the weekly. So it's at a big spot. If it can clear that, it's liable to make a good move. It also will have a good support area. If we can clear that, you'll have a very good support area to build a base on to continue to move up. This is KWEB. I added this. I like this. This was supposed to be in this list from the get-go. This is a Chinese ETF that I actually watch. We get heavy option flow come in on this thing a lot, and that's a signal that somebody somewhere somehow they know, because they come in and they load up on this, and then the next day Chinese stocks always pop almost every single time. Somebody knows, has figured out something to use KWEB to, and they use KWEB to cover all the stocks because it's an ETF. But it's a pretty smart idea, and it gives us a decent signal. This is the weekly. You can see we're pushing up. We're above the 9 and 20, but we have this 50 coming up. So once again, there's some big levels coming up on a lot of these stocks. KWEB's daily, it's not textbook because your angle is pushing up. So this is more of a coil than what it is, or you can possibly look at a wedge, but I know it looks like an ascending triangle, but you're not level right there. So like I say, it's not textbook, but we are coiling up into a top. And, the breakout of that level right there is a breakout. That's what I would be watching for. Holding your moving average in here, your 20 and your 9, you're above both of them. Holding this trend line where it's been coiling. Strong looking chart. Just says some, levels coming up ahead. And we're seeing that with a lot of these stocks. So Li Auto just reported numbers. They are up. Okay. In the month of, looks like second quarter, they are up 63%. For the month, they are up 69% on the year from last year's numbers. So they are up for June 69% from last June. They are up 63% from last year's second quarter. And this thing's just been on fire. We did finally get this pullback that we were looking for. It's struggling now to hold the 9. This may cool off a little more. They took a big run here. You can start to see some profit taken, seeing that bearish volume come in. The thing is, if we can't hold the 9, I would expect a pullback to the 20. The 20 is the meme anyway. Basically, just keep that simple. It's basically your center of your Bollinger Bands. I know it's not quite the angle that they are, but that's just to keep it simple. That's your, basically you go 2 degrees this way, you go 2 degrees that way. Trying to keep that simple. You can look at the 20 as being the center. I would prefer it hold the 9, but if it comes back to the 20, look for a bounce off of that. This MACD is still, when it looks like this, looks like that snakehead, it still has a opportunity to pinch and snatch open. So that, still worth watching. As long as we hold that 9 and hold this 20, as long as we hold those, it's still bullish. And you can see here the weekly chart, we were outside of the Bollinger Band. So we need a pullback here to get back in these Bollinger Bands. See where this candle opens up Tuesday morning. I mean, that's needed. The MACD looks really healthy here, showing relative strength. We just need to get back in them Bollinger Bands. It's just gotten too vertical, went up a little too quick. Needs to calm down, put in a little base, and then push back up. You can see the 15-minute chart here. Big pullback. This had a nastier pullback than the rest of them. or the most stocks to be. I haven't looked at these charts at all. Uh, Today I went through, put some tags on them, but didn't focus on any of the price action. So we're going to say that this underperformed a lot of other stocks in the market. We pushed up, snatched back, and then pushed again, where this just opened up and snatched back. It did push here at the end, but nowhere near the same kind of strength these other charts have into them. Here's EDU. We were talking about this bull flag here, and we have taken that out. We are above the 9 now. So you got 2 candles confirmed over top that 9. The 20's coming up to add support and to help push. These 2 moving averages are going to be converging real soon. I would like to see this 9 trying to turn up here. I like the chart. MACD's cooling off a little bit. Hopefully this can pinch and push up. Nice flag. See if we can continue with that breakout of that. You can see EDU's weekly chart. This looks rough. You had this big sell off, come back, tested. So we took this 50 back. We're back in the Bollinger Bands, which is a good sign. See if we can push here off this 50. It may take a little time to put in a little more of a base here. Let this 9 catch up to help it push. You can see the 15-minute chart here, and this, ripped it open, snatched back. Not a big recovery at the end of the day, though. You can see it went right back up to like pre-market levels and found resistance right there. Didn't even really get back up to them. This is NIO. NIO also, end of the month, they always, the EVs always have their numbers come out. So NIO also did really well year over year for June. So we're looking at June's numbers this year versus last June. So we're up 60% there. Looks like we're up 14% for this second quarter versus last second quarter. So not quite as good as Lee, but the numbers are they are up. I will say I've always thought Lee would be the one to outperform there because I haven't done any research on these in a while, but last time I did, Lee seemed like it was the cheaper automaker. So I just looked at that as more of your average Chinese would probably, citizens would probably be able to afford that over the more expensive line like NIO. And I just thought that it would probably, the stock is doing better right now, but the stock may not do better in the long run. But I think the company will do well. So NIO, you're back below this 9 here. 20 support right now. If we do pull back, watch that 20. We've got to get back above that 9. At least we're pulled away from the Bollinger Bands because it was getting a little frisky there. 200 is also resistance, but we have room to go, $4 or so, a little over $4 before we get to that. So we got to take this 9 back because this is going to push. MACD is getting pretty exhausted there, starting to roll over. Another day or 2 on this, and you're going to see what this MACD really wants to do. You're going to see if it wants to roll or if it's pinching. This is the weekly chart. We took the downtrend out. Once again, these Bollinger Bands are not trying to open up, and that's got a lot to do with this week's candle being red, pulling back. If we would have had another weekly candle, they probably would have tried to open. But if we do push, you have a downtrend that comes in here that we have to keep our eye out for. And you can see the 50 right there letting you know that there's a resistance level there, which is the downtrend. You can see NIO's 15-minute chart. You can see how they popped in pre-market right into the 200. Really didn't want nothing to do with the 200. Did take it out and got snatched back. But was, pulling back in pre-market. And this pullback happened to come at the same time. These numbers come out first. Everything looked good. They were pushing up. GM come out, guided down. We seen Toyota's numbers come out. They were down. And Nissan's numbers were down as well. So, knowing that information coming into market open, pulled everything pulled back with it. And there's always that suspicion that the Chinese EVs are cooking their books. Like I say, I own none of these, so I'm just it's not my opinion at all. We're just saying what people state. That's the rumor out there that they all these Chinese companies cook their books. So, that's not my opinion. I really don't have an opinion on them. PDD, got this 200 here. You're 9 and 20, so you have a good area of support here. Right now, we're above all of it. If Tuesday's candle will open up and clear that and remain above that, then that's a very good sign. This is bullish. It's, we coiled up into this, put in a tabletop up here at the 200, coiled up into the 200, took it out, come back, retesting the 200. This thing looks like it wants to get ready and rips. Just put in a nice base. Watch that MACD. That MACD needs to flip back over. Seen a little bit of bullish histogram there, not much at all. PDD weekly chart, you have your 50 and 200. We got to get above that. Looks like we tested it and pulled back. Your 9 is turned up on its way to help push it up. So it would be nice if we could gap up above that area. You can see PDD was very strong on Friday. Huge move, big pullback with it, but we never took the low out. And another big move right here at the end of the day, getting right back into that level. So very strong move, showing a lot of relative strength in this market. And you can see XPEV. XPEV also reported numbers. So, June versus last June, they were up 124%. And as for the quarter delivery, looks like it was about 133% versus second quarter of last year versus this quarter. Actually, no, I'm wrong. 124 for quarter over quarter and 133 for the month of June. Really big numbers. Looks like they definitely got the most vehicles out. We'll see what the price action wants to do. This is the weekly chart right into the 50 rejection. Put in an inside week here, not an inside day because it's a weekly chart. So we put in the inside bar on the weekly chart. Taking a break, looks like. Let's check the daily out. 15 first. A nice push here at open, but you can see the big sell right here. So all the EVs got hammered, and we just talked about why the GM guiding down, the Toyota bad numbers, Nissan's bad numbers, and we're right back to BABA. So that concludes our video. Hopefully they're not cooking the books and they're being honest with their numbers. That's showing growth even in times of COVID, a lot of trouble. People not even allowed to leave their houses in certain signals or their apartments in certain cities. And to still be able to get these numbers out, still be able to sell cars, that's really good. It's just a great sign for these companies, and they should have a lot more upside. Watching the liquidity as the Chinese pouring money into the market, that is something to keep an eye on as well. I hope this helps. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Make sure you get some relaxed time in this weekend, some family time. Have a good weekend. I'll see you in the trading room on Tuesday. Happy 4th.